Hello everyone and welcome back to EchPlays. I'm Esh. It's been a while, but we're finally back. And if I can remember what happened last time, we're going to go over it. As you can see, well, last time we tried to get the void ore miner working, and we failed. We got it built and the laser was going, but there was no ore going into this thing, and we were looking into other problems. And I had the thought that maybe it was something to do with the wires not being able to transmit enough power to keep this thing going, and that actually turned out to be the case. In between the last episode and now, I actually hooked this thing up with these Flux plugs from Flux Networks. So you have a Flux plug that sends out power, and then the Flux points, which receive power on a network system. And it has been working, as you can see by this, fairly well. The only problem is that void ore miner is using a lot of power, boys and girls. It is using so much. As you can see, this thing was full, and it's now being sucked dry. And I haven't even left this thing going for very long. So my plan for today is to start off by changing up our network systems, because right now all the power sources that are hooked up to the flux plugs and stuff are on the same network. So it's this thing is pulling both from the solar array and that thing and whatever else is on the system. Let's sleep first and make sure we can have access to that solar panel, most importantly. So the plan right now is to have two networks, one that is just the solar array, so this thing only runs on the solar panel, which should, if I'm not mistaken, be enough to run this thing by itself. We want to consolidate our power so that all the power is because coming from our reactor is running everything else, and then this huge power sink has its own dedicated source. So if I go over here, I can show you guys everything else we have set up for this mod. Flux Networks. This is a mod I never heard of, but it's actually pretty cool and sort of replaces like some of the other wireless energy systems that I've used in the past. As you can see, we have here a flux controller. Here we have flux storage. And then we have a flux plug on here to send out power. We have a flux point on here to receive power to our computer. I don't know if I built this before the episode. I can't remember if the pattern grid was part of this during the last episode. But if it's not, here's a pattern grid. We can automate some stuff if we really want to. But as you can see, this is a storage system, and essentially it just it's like a nice buffer system between the power source. It can hold a little bit of energy. And it'll be sucked out from by the other stuff. The flux controller sort of sets up the various options and stuff that you want to have in your flux controller. This is our network name for this. I think we might need two of these, one for each network, but I'm not totally sure on that. If I right click on the plug, you can see that it's hooked up to this thing, and if we had more than one network, this would be where we select them. But you can say this is a reactor plug, ignore limit false, and then you can sort of set these as priorities and stuff so that it, I guess we could just do that, really. But I don't think it would really fix the problem. It would just make it so that energy is sucked out of the solar panel first by everything else. So we only want the void miner using that by itself. So. But if I go to a point, it's pretty much the same situation. You can name these things so you can sort of organize them a little bit better. That's why this one's called computer point, and why the other one's called like void point or something. But you can select the networks as well. You can edit the network. You can change the color or what the network shows up as. Borders surround it. A little bit of customization. You can see the network statistics. The network connections, you can sort of see everything that's connected to the network. So we actually have the storage system, we have the reactor plug, the computer point, the solar array plug, the void miner point, the lava generator plug. So we even have the lava generator hooked up to this thing, for better or worse. So yeah, I think the question was, how do we do this? And I think the answer is, unless, oh, we can actually create a new network. Okay, beautiful. So we can call this solar void network, and we can make it like a nice purple. Could put it in a nice little purple color. 0, 255, And 255. That's a nice pinkish color. Nice little pinkish purple. And we can create this. And hopefully it will work. Now, I don't know actually if this worked. I think this allows us to create the network, but it only allows you to select one. So if I go over here and I just look at the whole network. Okay, so I think we needed to make another controller. So let's go ahead and figure out how to do that. Can't quite remember. Network controller. Okay, that's not really helping. Actually, it's right here. Okay. So I've had to make some special stuff. We have some flux blocks, which are flux with flux cores. Flux is just cooked redstone, so that's actually pretty easy. These flux cores are a little bit more difficult in that you need an ender eye and some obsidian, but it's actually not so bad in the end. So we're going to pop a few of these in here. And actually we can see that I have some leftover stuff. We're going to need more of those flux blocks, unfortunately. So how much of these do we need? We needed 5 flux blocks, 2 flux, and 1 flux core. So let's go start with the 5 of these. It's pretty much all gone now. So we'll build some more of this. We're going to have to cook some more redstone. So let's go ahead and pop some redstone in here. I don't know how many we're going to need. We're just going to start with 9 at first. And leave that cooking. And now we can actually see if maybe we can build this thing. I don't remember how many we actually made there. So we need more blocks, obviously, unfortunately. But that's okay. All we're doing, you know what, I'm going to cook a little bit more of the redstone. I'm going to cook like a few blocks worth. Why not? And in fact, I might even have some like cooked over here. I don't really remember. I might have some cooked over in these furnaces. Yes, I do. Because this whole system requires this stuff. So every piece of it, I've had to use some of this stuff on it. And it goes pretty fast considering how many of these we need in each of these. Each of these guys requires 4 just to make these 4. So it's pretty redstone intensive, but considering how much redstone we've actually had, just keeping holding places in our computer system, it's actually kind of nice to have a use for it, to be honest. Okay, so now I can make a little bit of these. We have 3, so 4. Jesus. There it is. I think I only need 1 more. So if I can now do this, boom. Okay, we've got one. Now I hope this is the case. There may be a totally separate block that lets us split networks. Let's see. At Flux. So we have the controller, the building blocks, the configurator, which helps us configure things, plugs and points, and then just some storage stuff, and then some solar panels. So I think really all we need is this thing. So if I go in here and I select, so this is not, I don't think that actually went through. Maybe I hit reset instead of create. I don't think so though. So we'll name this again, solar void. That's not how you spell solar. Solar void network. And I'm just going to leave that color and we're going to create it. Okay, that time it worked for some reason. But I still think we need 2 of these. Ooh, that caused a little bit of lag there. So I've selected this guy. Name Flux Controller number 2. And boom, we're good to go. Now we might need another one of these that's hooked up to this network as well. So maybe we can build one of these normal things here. What was that? Oh, it needs more of these damn things, dude. 1, and it's used all of these. Like, this is what I'm talking about. It doesn't seem like you need a whole lot of these, but damn do you. You really do. Okay, so more of these guys. I'm going to type in flux so we can see the number. So 1, 2, 3, 4. We need 6. 6, okay. And then done. Okay, beautiful. So we have this guy. and we can sort of set it next to this, and we can even, and it's really cool thing about this is when you click on the solar void network and it selects it, and we can go now and hook up, say, obviously the solar panel to this network. When we come back to that, it'll change the color of what the energy that's inside to match the network color. So that's why that one is red, and this one should be a blue color. So if I hook this up to this thing now, okay, and then I hook this up to that one as well, that should be it. That's like that's the extent of it, I believe. So if I go back over here now, there should be power pulling in it. Not a lot, because it's probably being used as fast as it's being made over there. But you can sort of see at the bottom, there's a little bit of a pool of blue energy. And I don't know. Little shit like that gets me real worked up, boys. Oh, okay. So now I also have this guy here. So I can actually access all of the ores and stuff that are being picked up and put in that chest on the void ore miner. And I can actually access them from the ender chest and decide what I want to do with them. Beautiful. It's beautiful. And also, we can actually do something about checking this thing off of our list now that it's actually functioning. Collect ore from the void with a void ore miner structure. Boom. Done. The next thing is the next page. That's it. So we need to build a solar array tier 4 multi-block structure. But other than that one, once we do that, this green energy section will be done. So, boom. Now, the other thing I was doing was working towards Miniellum with our chickens. Unfortunately, it is going to be a bit of a journey because we need we need Ardite chickens before we can do that. We need to combine an Ardite chicken with a Cobalt chicken. And by combine, you know what I mean. That sweet, sweet, sensual chicken sex. Chicken sensual, consensual chicken sensual sex. Thank you. Oh, a slime chicken egg. This is what we needed. So we mix a slime egg with something else and it makes Ardite. But first we need... Oh, what the fuck did I do that for? I just threw our egg right onto the ground like a goddamn asshole. Well, that's unfortunate, but it happened. And there's nothing we can do about it, okay? There's nothing we can do about it now. So if I go into Ardite and look for the Ardite chicken, it says I need a blaze rod chicken and a magma cream chicken. I have blaze rod chickens, as you well know. Of course I do. Why wouldn't I? The magma cream chicken is the one I don't have, so I need a slime chicken to mate with a blaze rod chicken. And that will give us a magma cream chicken. And then we combine the magma cream chicken with a blaze rod chicken again. And they will then eventually make an Ardite chicken, which we can then combine with a cobalt chicken, which will then give us Miniellum. And that will be our Miniellum source. Now, there may be a chance that this thing is also mining this stuff. I don't really know what sort of loot table it's pulling from for this thing. There's Ardite right here, actually. Ardite, cobalt. So you would hope that maybe Miniellum maybe exists in this as an option. I'm not really sure. So if I look for just the ore, it doesn't seem to have an ore, actually. So I guess it's just an alloy, maybe. Smelting. Is there a mixture that gives me Miniellum, or alloying? Here we go. Cobalt and Ardite. So you just hook them together like you make the chickens bang. So in theory, we could start doing these and get a little bit of it to start with until our chickens are in full-fledged bangarang, you know? Sure, why not? What else are we really using this for other than the sticking meat and making blood out of this stuff? So, I mean, which is really weird, to be honest. Sure, let's see what happens. Let's just cook a little bit in here. Why not? Whew, that's going to be great. Because the reason we want it was we're going to be combining Miniellum elements and cobalt elements into a weapon and tools and stuff to make our Tinkerer's tool base. And then we can level those up to eventually be meeting the requirements of all this stuff. Craft the highest tier Unbreakable Builder's Wand. So, Unbreakable Builder's Wand. Unbreakable Wand looks like this is the best one. Now, yeah, I think this is the best one. So this needs a nether star, for God's sakes. Or 2 of the 8K ones make a 16K one, and 2 of the 4K ones equals an 8K one. So if we could get 4 total of these 2 normal ones, but it seems to me like they all require a nether star no matter what. So that's really good. That's really good. And by good, I mean awful. We need to make it. We're going to have to acquire some nether stars to make those things. So that's out of the picture right now. Build an email. Okay, so we're working on that sort of passively. I have not worked. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I have not worked with alchemic wizardry since the last time, because while I love in theory, the work you have to put into it is like all hands on deck. Like, you can't passively do this. In my off time, I can't like watch something on TV and do this. You have to be paying attention. You have to keep cutting your goddamn self. It's so silly. Age of the Botanist. We're gonna have to do a bunch of stuff, fellas. Like, there's a bunch of crap in here that we have not even considered, let alone started. Maybe building a new dimension is the next thing on our list here. Use the absorber to create a custom liquid or block dimension. Like, okay, geez. And it just gets more and more nuts as we go further in this, as you probably know. If we go back in time a little bit, craft an iron seed. Like, mystical farming might be the next thing on the list. Use an angel block. This is a one-time thing just to get it out of the way. We can probably do that. Kill a wither. Travel to the beneath dimension. Travel to the end. Kill an inner dragon. Collect dragon's breath. Travel to the end city and obtain an elytra. Attach a dragon egg. It's all vanilla stuff, basically. Create an actively cooled reactor from extreme reactor spots. So, like, this might be the next thing, because we could use an upgrade on a reactor. But there's not really much that I can do now that doesn't require some preparation in H. Oops. We left this thing going a little bit too long, I think. I think what we could do is build a few more of... We can sort of complete our network by building a few more plugs and points so that everything is hooked up. That's an option. We can also remove some of this stuff. Like, we don't need this anymore, really. Like, what is it really hooked up to at this point? Every time I really mess with the power system at all, it gets a little bit laggy. What was that? Does anybody know? That's real weird. If I hover over between these 2 tiles, specifically those 2 tiles, the chests become ghost chests. They get Patrick Swayze all over them. It's real weird. Okay, so if I need some, let's decide what we want actually in the system. It is a little bit concerning. Oh, you know why? It's because it's dark. We have to really make a conscious effort to sleep anytime it's dark, because it means the Void Ore Miner is essentially not at all working, which is fine, really. It's not a big deal that it's not going. Like, we have plenty of stuff without it, I think, in my opinion. But if we've built it, you might as well use it, right? So this thing should not be draining as fast as it is right now. Is it going back up now? Yeah, it is slowly but surely going back up now that it's no longer on the system. But it's going to take a little while for this thing to pick itself back up. It's going to be tough. Now, the question is, yes, this thing, it is bringing in some Yellorium, though. Not a lot, just a little bit. But it is a nice change. We don't have to sort of come over here and constantly customize what sort of net we're using and on what material we're using, if this thing is going to, at least at an adequately decent pace, bring us things like Yellorium and stuff. It might be a nice solution to having to have that system. So what do we not want on the system? I think we want this stuff on the system, because it's already on the system, really. So we want these machines to be hooked up to the network. This machine to the network. I think we're going to leave those machines on their own private network, since they have their own generator over there. But what about the other stuff? The question is, do we want this thing on the system? As I think this is a dangerous prospect, fellas. if I put this on the system, it's probably one of the, other than the void ore miner, is probably the thing that uses the most power. Like, it just constantly, just non-stop power usage if I leave it on by accident. So I'm not sure I trust myself to take it off of this its own generator and put it on the network. So I'm just gonna leave it. So nothing else is really using power. There's this stuff over here, but it's using chicken poop to power it. So I don't really know. I think maybe the only thing we want to do are the stuff that's already inside on the network that's no longer really functioning. Because these things are hooked up to nothing now, essentially. So if I can probably remove these. I know that these things look cool and there's people that wanted me to use these, but after a while, I either have to start going in and making the heavy-duty versions of these things, or have to replace them with something else. So, I'm sorry to say, I'd rather have teleporting power, you know, wireless power, than have to worry about that sort of thing. Ugh. Ugh. But that's going to be okay, because we need... So what do we need? We needed... we're going to need a plug, I think. Yeah, plug for the bottom of this bolt, this guy, the lightning bolt. Even though we probably haven't gotten any power from that thing yet. And then we're going to need... I don't know how this thing really works. We could leave this here. We could make one of these hooked to the bottom of a network plug. A flux plug? Would that work? I guess it's something we can test out. So if I go ahead and break all of these then. And I think this guy deserves its own point. But if I don't want to have 3 points, one for each of these, then maybe we could leave these here and test out and see if you can have like a network plug that just hooks into the bottom of one of these relays or something. It's worth checking out, right? Alright, we've removed the old bits, mostly. Beautiful. Now we just need to make a few things. So, we'll start by making 2 plugs. Or, wait, 1 plug and 2 points. Okay. That's what our current goal is. So I already have 1 point. So I just need a plug and a point. So flux point. As you can see, these are actually fairly easy to make as long as you have the redstone cooked up. So I'll make 1 more of these. And then I need a plug. So I need more crap. 1 more set of these, and then 1 of these guys. So 1 more set of these now again. And then we should be able to make this beautiful. So this one goes onto the bottom of our lightning rod. Just so it can connect to the network. Please select the network. You know what? I mean, yeah. It doesn't make sense to... just put it in the ultimate power thing. Let's homogenize it a little bit. And then we need these points for 1 for the laser. So this guy can be hooked up to the ultimate power. And then I guess we can put this up here and try this. I'm not sure this is going to work. It does seem to have hooked up to it. So if I go in here now and first of all, I don't know. All these have internal power is the problem. I will know as soon as I hook a wire up to this though, actually. So it's getting no power, I don't think. But maybe it's because this is a relay instead of a connector. That's probably what it is. So if I put this to the bottom now, and then I hook the wires back up. It's still getting oh wait, I haven't hooked this thing up to the network. Ultimate power. Now it's getting power. That one is anyway. Okay, I'm going to put this as the relay again. And then... So I think I might have to have a middleman here for this to work. Because I think I need... I need to split the wire with a relay before... So it needs a connector like this. And already it's getting power. The question is, I think maybe this thing is full, so it's not going to read any power going into it. This is a mess. I don't think this is worth all the trouble. I might as well just make connectors for all these, honestly. And also, that's the wrong thing. I would need a that's tough, actually. I'm not sure. I don't know that I feel like messing with this. I think it's better just to use the resources and just make points for all of these instead of messing... That's not the right thing. Oh, crap. You know what's happened here? The factory block's fallen down into the void. Rip. That's fine. I'm just going to stick this... No, I'll just change to this. There's this boy. Picks this up. Alright, nice. Okay, so now the plan is to make 2 more points so that each one of these guys has its own. And then we'll have our network solidified for the future. We future-proofed it a little bit. So, flux point. We need 2 more of these guys. So, at least this many. 1, 2, beautiful. This and this. This goes to this. This goes to this. And these all have power now. Or if they have need of it in the future anyway. So everything is good. I think everything's good. So essentially, these things are controlling all the connections, allowing us to have 2 different networks. One network is being stored here if there's any excess energy. One is being stored here if there's any excess energy. These things are then pulling energy out of there. This is sending energy from the reactor. This is taking energy into the computer. Those are all 3 or 4 taking energy into each individual machine. Oh shit, we need 1 more for that guy. Even though we really don't use it. Luckily we have enough left over. Beautiful. Now all these are hooked up, and in the future maybe, if I feel confident enough, we can go and retrofit all of these machines over here with the same stuff. And who knows, maybe in the future it can all sort of be on one network. But for now, the solar power is dedicated only to the Void Miner. And as you can see, power, I don't know that it's as fast as it once was. I don't really know for sure if it's slow or slower. I don't know either way. Could be better, could be worse. I don't know. But it's still working, and that's really all that matters. Now, so let's see and check and make sure this has worked properly in here. So we now have some mini-Olean, beautiful. 4 ingots worth of that stuff. And I think, honestly, I'm still going to work my way through the chickens to get to this. To get to a mini-Olean chicken. Because I think that's a bit that's going to benefit us in the long run. Benefit us in the long run. However, we might be able to get enough from here by combining the cobalt and the ardite that we get from this place to actually make the tools we need earlier than the chickens are going to allow us. One last check of the chicken sex. We actually do have a slime chicken. Let's not throw it onto the floor this time. It will be good. And we can just pop this boy into a little nest. We're going to replace this young chicken with this young chicken. Right? Okay, this guy's actually better than this one. We're going to kill this chicken. Sorry, goodbye forever. And these 2 are new breeders. We're going to get rid of these eggs because they're old and gross. The new chickens will bang it out. banging us out. Those are just silicon, by the way. We're using those to get a little bit better silicon production. We're going to have a 2 set. So far, we've only done 4 sets here, but on like the less important, but still kind of want a nice resource of it, where silicon falls, we're just going to have 2 chickens instead of the 4. And that's what a lot of these chickens will probably end up being. But eventually, these have to be 10s. And we'll be good. Now, obviously, we also need, once we get Mini Ellen, Ardite, and stuff, we need to make them 10s too. So it's going to be a lot of chicken grinding, loving, sweet romantic chicken loving happening over here in the future. Even more than is already. It's nice to be back on the Sky Factory. It's been a little bit. I was feeling under the weather. But I should have more consistent videos coming up again. So I'll see you guys next time. If you guys liked the video, it was a little bit of a meandering one because I didn't know exactly how long the network system was going to take to set up. We had a little bit extra time, but in the end, I think it was worth taking a nice episode out to sort of recollect ourselves and get our network in order, and honestly explore the sort of interesting mod that is Flux Network. It's a very simplified, very nice, streamlined mod, in my opinion. That doesn't require too much of you to get it. You know, watch one little tutorial video and I pretty much had it. And hopefully you guys can sort of get the same sort of satisfaction from this video. So if you guys like this episode, hit the like button. If you like the series, hit the like and subscribe button if you haven't already. And tell all your friends that love Minecraft about this episode. Hit the share button. And I'll see you guys next time on the Sky Factory.